Hi everybody. I hope everybody is doing well today. We're going to, do our story time because it's Wednesday. That's what we do on Wednesdays. We do story time. I hope everybody's getting ready for the 4th of July holiday. It's coming up, so we do need people to be, it's a Sunday. I know a lot of folks are going out of town. We just still need to be safe, out there, and not necessarily just the mask issue. I know, if you're in large crowds, if you're going to be in a large area, we still want you to take precautions, but also fireworks safety, okay? Be careful. Don't let your kids, try and light fireworks, get too close to the fireworks, whatever you're going to do, the grill, these are all, hazards for the 4th of July. You guys are going to the pool. I mean, we gotta be vigilant all across the board, but we want you to enjoy the holiday weekend. Monday, the 5th of July, I think we're getting into closing the office, folks. I'm going to need a little break. So I may take a little vacation that day, but we will always be available by phone, though. Don't despair, okay? I will be available for any phone calls that you may need after the holidays. Please just give us the call at our main number, and you'll get me. I'm just going to maybe take a little day off for myself. So I hope that's okay, folks, because I need a little time. And then we're going to get pushed into or back to school, and we'll be ready to go. But I'm going to take a little bit, and also give my staff the 4th of July holiday off. So that's a federal holiday, and I do need to give them a holiday. So we're going to give them that. But we're going to get into today's story, and it's Pete the Cat. Pete the Cat's cool. So I like Pete the Cat, and here we go. Let's go ahead and get started with Pete the Cat. Okay. And this is Pete the Cat. And this is Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. All right, here we go. Pete the Cat put on his favorite shirt with 4 big, colorful, round, groovy buttons. He loved his buttons so much. He sings this song. Now, I'm not going to sing, but I'll give it a try. All right? My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. Oh no! One of the buttons popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 3 buttons. 4 minus 1 is 3. So 3 buttons are left. Groovy, he lost a button here. Did Pete cry? Goodness no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept singing his song. My 3 groovy buttons. My 3 groovy buttons. Oh, pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. Did Pete cry? Goodness no. Buttons come and buttons go. Kept on singing though. My 2 groovy buttons. My 2 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? It's a red button. 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. Did Pete cry? Goodness no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. If you know the song, sing it when Pete comes. My 1 groovy button. My 1 groovy button. Pop! Oh no! The last button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left. 0. Did Pete cry? Goodness no. Buttons come and buttons go. Pete looked down at his buttonless shirt. And what do you think he saw? His belly button. And he kept on singing his song. It's all good. My button, my button. I still have my belly button, my button, my button. I still have my belly button. Buttons go, but do we cry? Goodness no. We keep on singing. And there we have Mr. Pete the cat singing his button song. Look at that. Buttons come and buttons go. All right. Yeah, right. That was Pete the cat. Pete's pretty cool. I like Pete. This is a good little book, actually. Pete has actually got a lot of good little books, but this one is really good for so many reasons, moms and dads. We've got colors. We've got numbers. We've got repetition of words. And one of my speech therapy colleagues had mentioned, for young children, repeating words, just like the little song, My Buttons, they're memorizing words, but they may not understand it as a toddler that it's this little word on the page, but memorizing, learning words, expanding the vocabulary. So this book works really well with our younger kids, so they memorize. The sing-song manner, they learn about language, and they learn to repeat. So as they get older, our little ones, when you just say, what's this? What's this? But first of all, you have to tell them, their cat is playing in front of them. Look, there's our little cat. There's our friend Ginger. And the kids are, what's going on? So you repeat that word, the kids associate it with this. Just like this, buttons or repeating words. The kids will learn to repeat, and then they start to put the two together. And then as they start to put those words, red button, because now they're putting their color and their button, and it's 3 buttons, 3 yellow buttons. Any combinations, but it starts with just repeating. And these books, that's why Pete the Cat books are really helpful with this, because it's a lot of repetition and repeating words, and that's a foundation for them to learn, and that eventually becomes reading. Now, I know right now we're using the computer for our books. The hardcover books do give you a little bit of, they actually get a little bit more out of the hardcover book, because then they get to see those words. When they started seeing a lot of animation, sometimes that can take away from the story. So when you have a book, you can actually say, what's Pete doing? He lost his button. Which button? The red button. Well, how many buttons are left? So it gives you a chance to build on that. And we're covering a lot of actually topics with this one little story. So moms and dads, take advantage of these stories, and you can just pick one thing. Your kids are going to want to read the same book over and over again, right? We know they always like repetition. So the repetition of words, so let them sing that little portion of the book. And they're like, I'm reading. Yeah, you're reading. But they can listen to sounds, and they're growing from, that's going to be their basis for growing their language. And then as they get there next night, we're going to talk about, let's count the buttons. Let's look at the colors of the buttons. These are things that you can know from one story. These are all the bases of reading. So this is a fun, really story. I hope moms and dads just take a look at some of them. We'll do more Pete the Cat books. I think I just like cat. I just like Pete. Pete the Cat's cool. So we will take more stories from Pete, but this is a really good story for repetition, building on language, getting that hardcover book and letting the kids tell you the story as well. That will enhance on their reading. And do this during the summer vacation. Like I've mentioned every single time, reading is our basis for learning and for their school success. Well, this is a fun book. I mean, we're not going to read this at school. We know that. But let's go ahead and do fun books like this to really keep those skills up for our upcoming school year. All right? So everybody, I hope you have enjoyed Pete the Cat, and you have an enjoyable 4th of July, Independence Day. We will be available via the phone, phone call, or answering services and concerns, but please be safe. Be careful around the pools, wear your sunscreen, stay hydrated. If you're going to be in crowds, protect from those that may or may not be vaccinated. We still have COVID in the community. Thankfully, it's not as prevalent at this time, but we still need to be cautious. So everybody take care of themselves and enjoy their holiday. Take care. Bye-bye.